Welcome to UrbanX TV. We have a special guest in the building. We have Cambatta. How are you, brother?
God. Peace, King. Thank you for coming to the CD release too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That was
Absolutely,
dope. That was dope.
Man.
So because I was there, I did get a lot of information, background information on you, but some of our viewers didn't see it, so I'm gonna, reintroduce some stuff. So
Definitely.
Before we start, I want everybody to like, share, and subscribe. Before we get even started, subscribe. You don't have to like it yet. You'll like it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But so you're here to talk about your new album, Holy Ghost.
Yes.
Right?
The Holy Ghost EP. iTunes, Amazon, CambattaMusic.com, Black Magik, Cambatta.
Check it out. Fire. So and also doing some research, I found out that Shawn Setaro from Complex, senior editor, he listed your album number 6 on his top albums for 2017.
Which is unbelievable.
Which is dope because your album came out at the end of the year.
It came out December 15th. Which gave him approximately 16 days to listen in a,
right. That's
and not only that, but it's obviously a song that's heavily melanated.
Right.
And this is a man that's
white
Jewish.
Dude. Yeah. White, glasses and all.
It only took him a couple days to say, all right, yes. Amongst Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar, this is
right. That was
6 songs. That's it.
That's dope. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your upbringing and how that created Cambatta.
Definitely. I started off in New Haven, Connecticut, which is the actually last landing place of the Amistad ship, which brought the slaves over, which were the first group of slaves, including Joseph Cinque, to I guess shout the word freedom. We know obviously they weren't freed. But this place holds some significance because it's also the land dwelling of Yale University and also the birthplace of George Bush. But of course, everything gets created in the presence of its opposite. And therefore comes people like me, people that have gone through the struggle of I was born in 1987, which brought me approximate to the latter of the crack epidemic, where we started seeing actual zombies. And we started seeing our kings and queens acting far out of character because of the chemical warfare that was brought upon us. And Yale University is also home to one of the most profitable hospitals on earth, which is Yale Hospital, Yale New Haven Hospital. Which, in order to be a profitable hospital, of course, you have to have a lot of patients. And in this case, their most profitable aspect of their hospital is psychological and drug warfare. Purposely placed crack means that you got parents that are crack addicted. And this happened to me. Fortunately for me, I had a grandma who was really strong mentally and was able to somewhat be able to stabilize me. But just like any other kid, I was born without a father. Mom struggling with the ills of the streets. Grammy working, every day to make sure that I at least have my bare necessities. I was attracted to hip hop because of the wittiness of the lyricism. Early on, there was some things going on with me. Anytime I get a fever, I have vast hallucinations to the point that the hospital would get called. There was a little special case going on in our house. And but once I heard rap music, it allowed me to isolate my genius into one area, and that was just literally these quips based on wordage. That started around the age of 15 when I adopted the name Cambatta, based on my uncle, my mom's brother, was a pop locker, and he was the first person to show me Big Daddy Kane, Zulu Nation, Afrika Bambaataa, and all these things in their purest form. We're not talking about all of the stuff that happened afterwards, and we're talking about purely these people geniuses. Genius is a very thin line between insanity.
Check.
So just like my uncle and my mom struggled with their own ills, they were absolute geniuses. You know what I mean? Just like Afrika Bambaataa and all the rest of the people that went through this phase, And that's where I came from, you know. So it was that attracted me to hip hop music. Eventually, when I was 18, I moved to Florida, which was appropriate in my story and my framing. It's almost like a Christ-like story through my eyes, solipsistically, because once I got to Florida, I was able to make my introduction into nature, water, plants, chlorophyll. I was able to really breathe. You know, up north, up here in New York and Connecticut, there's nothing but buildings everywhere you turn. There's no nature, and this kind of makes it a lot harder. Of course, we develop. You know, people from up north have a crazy language. You know, like we were able to, our wordage, our language is so refined here because of business, but we lack a lot of things due to our relationship with nature in the winter. So it wasn't until I went to Florida that I started to develop the relationship. I started dealing with entheogens once I was about 23, 24, which are plants that incite the spiritual aspect. So most of the foods in your diet aid you in physical prosperity, or they should. But entheogens are things that allow your mind to access the spiritual realms. And this didn't happen until I was 23, 24, at which point I decided not to ever work again in my life. And I decided to sacrifice everything for the material abundance of my family and for the mental and spiritual abundance of myself. And that's when I started to really exercise, change my diet, get into psychedelic substances, and without fear of death, allow myself to indulge myself into the darkness as much as I can. And as its direct application to rap, I realize that this is solely dependent on vernacular and vocabulary. And I have a very intentional direction in making sure that I master words as well as the intonation and emotional expression of hip hop for its mastering. I want to become one of the greatest to ever do this. So once I was in Florida and I got in touch with those things through the entheogens or psychedelics, I moved to New York because I knew that this was the place that I had to do it physically. I moved to New York in 2015. Since then, I've had, you know, my relationship with psychedelics has definitely died down, but I've grown and matured as a human being on the physical spectrum, and now I'm starting to make things manifest in reality, including hopefully abundance.
Yo, so growing up, what rappers did you watch that you adopted, that you at least tried to adopt? Because your rhyme style, I was listening to your album today again, and it's very particular. Like, you have a very vast vocabulary. Anybody can see that. And you also infuse a lot of the what we call consciousness within your rhymes as well. And when a lot of people try it, it doesn't really work because it just sounds corny. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But when you do it, you can really just knock to it, and you're still dropping jewels. And sound is the only thing that can go into our subconscious without our permission. So when you're doing that, you're actually teaching at the same time. So who did you try to emulate, or were you even trying to emulate somebody when you were doing that?
Yes, great question. The first person I heard that made it strike in me that say, oh my goodness, I have to start doing this, was Big L. He said, fuck all the glamours and glitz. I plan to get rich. I'm from New York, but never was a fan of the Knicks. And I'm all about expanding my chips. You mad because I was in the van with your bitch with both hands on the tits? When I first heard this happen, I noticed what was happening with sound. I couldn't figure it out at first. But then I realized that this man was using so many literary techniques that it solved the problem on every level. And it wasn't until I heard Big L, Jay-Z, DMX, Nas that I started really picking up the pen. You know what I mean? It wasn't for the sonic purpose. It was because of what was going on in my mind. So it was Big L, DMX, which it's funny because DMX and Big L do two very different things. You know what I mean? DMX is probably one of the most powerful emotional emoters that we've ever had in this. Is that this man, when you listen to his story, he's gone through so much that when they say the word ignorance is bliss, it's almost as if like when you look at a bird fly, there's no thought that goes into it.
Right.
They just adapt with the circumstances of nature. And so does somebody like a DMX. You know what I mean? They're acting from such a primal point that when it comes out, it's like a growl from a grizzly bear or a wolf or something. And that's how dope he was. So I understood that the intonation and the verbal impact. But then I noticed the wittiness and the pattern recognition of a Big L. And that's kind of where I made the marriage. I was born in 1987, so I didn't start getting into hip hop until I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old. So I was a little late, and I was only attracted to people that had multisyllabic. If you didn't have multisyllabic rhyme schemes, I wouldn't listen to you. And if you didn't have punchlines or some kind of like technique, I would just completely ignore you. This is why I didn't like Jay-Z at first, because it wasn't so evident. I liked DMX more than Jay-Z because he was so poetic that he would disguise his lyricism a little bit more. It was more like he was just conversationally expressing it to you, where I was used to the formatting, mathematic patterns of a Big L, and that's what brought me in, man. And since then, I've just been all about the technique, and one of my prime adversaries has been Eminem. He's a white dude that took the rhyme sequences to as far as the mathematics of it, he took it to the very close to the end of the spectrum. And we have to make sure that we have one too, you know what I mean? And I'm a human being like other human beings I know that could rhyme syllabics infinitely. It doesn't matter if it's a 25 syllabic sentence. I'm gonna make it line up for the whole song, whether it's 4 minutes or 12 minutes.
Right.
You feel me? And that's, to me, it's like code writing. I'm writing the next program, and I'm very serious about this. You know what I mean? Like, anytime somebody comes out with something, I take it personally. I don't, whether it's Young Thug or Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, I love it. I'm able to appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm like, these human beings are writing a digital code that I'm not writing. I have to do it now because my family's life depends on it. You know what I mean? And that's the main drive.
So I'm sure when you first started rapping, your lyrical content was a little different, right?
Yes.
So when did you start infusing consciousness into your your rhymes, your rhyme scheming and things like that? Because I'm sure at 15 you wasn't talking about what you're talking about now.
Basically, you know, from the ages of 15 to 23, I was able to replicate and do what everybody else was doing. You know, crack rap, gun rap, bars, rapidy rap, talking about how good I rap. You know what I mean? It didn't seem authentic because I didn't know who I was yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't until I started really. It takes what they call a divine intervention to truly change somebody out of their pattern and a routine.
What was yours?
Mine was psychedelics. You know what I mean? Before that, I was just working and eating food. You know what I mean? Fucking eating and shitting, sleeping. You know what I mean? Right. As any other human being would, you know, watching TV. I didn't know that I was missing anything. Right. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I started smoking marijuana because I heard of so many rappers doing it because it was able to isolate their focus. And at the time I was eating and working so much that my chemical composition was so out of whack, I wasn't able to sit down and write a rhyme. So anything anybody would have told me at that time that could tell me, yo, bro, if you do this, you could write rhymes. If they said, yo, bro, if you drink bleach, you'll write better rhymes, I would have drank bleach. At the time, my buddies was like, bro, you need to teach yourself how to smoke bud. And once I did that, that's what brought the consciousness in because as soon as I did marijuana, I developed the curiosity for psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms. When I did magic mushrooms, I ended up in the hospital. I'm probably somebody that's medically not supposed to experiment with these things. But because of that, I was able to absolutely not only kill my ego, but after you see the dead body on the ground, you stomp it, you shit on it, you piss on it, you throw hydrochloric acid on it. basically, I ended up in a hospital. They had to put me in MRIs. Like, I still haven't met a human being that has got, by way of psilocybin, got pushed so far out of this human experience. I was absolutely traumatized to the point that still now I shiver in terror every moment of my waking life because of what I experienced through this overdose of psilocybin that I experienced. Once I experienced that, it was like, it immediately drew a line between, reality and my metaphysical world that I obtained within myself. And at that point, I just started studying feverishly. The first person I found was Bobby Hemmett, actually. I started looking up consciousness, and the first two people I found were Terrence McKenna and Alan Watts, two white people. Terrence McKenna is popular in this psychedelic realm. Alan Watts, very popular in the psychological realm and in the philosophical realm. If you're looking for people that have great English, those are two guys who mastered it, basically. From then I said, you know what black dudes are like this? First person I found was Bobby Hemmett. And Bobby Hemmett has so much material, and he says so many, and he has such a vast memory that I immediately found Phil Valentine, Red Blue Pill, Black Dot, Supernova. I found everybody, and then I eventually found Brother Rich, Black Magik, which leads to the Holy Ghost Project, of course.
Right. Brother Rich is in the building, y'all.
Brother Rich is in the building.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt y'all, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not usually on camera, but I'm going to be here. So, I'll be chiming in.
Whenever.
You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Exactly.
I'm here.
That's when I found this brother, is because I was looking for somebody that looked like me, that spoke like this.
Right.
And literally it went like this. Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, Black Dot, Red Blue Pill, Brother Rich. Once I realized who that voice was behind that. And since then I was absolutely addicted, no different than the crack that, put me in this position in the first place.
Okay, so going into the Holy Ghost Project, what struck me as interesting, because the way albums come out now, it's a lot of features, a lot of rappers are feature heavy, and they have, if it's 10 songs, it's 8 different producers, right? On this project, you only had one producer, right? Black Magik, aka Brother Rich, right? So what made you want to differentiate yourself by only having one producer? And how is it? And I mean, you have other projects as well, right? Did you work with multiple producers on those other projects?
Yeah.
So how does that experience differ?
I mean, I've never had an experience like this. This is the first time. Like, previous to this, first of all, I'm not the most social person of all time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very isolated. I don't trust anybody to be able to carry out my vision, but and I don't like collaborating a lot of the times, because I'm usually in such a state of high isolation that I've already imagined a song before I even think of another human being to be on it. So it's not that I'm such a selfish person. It's just that once I hear a beat, I try to encapsulate it myself as much as possible. Right. So previous to this, usually my songs are created by me receiving an MP3 by way of email or digital download. I already knew this guy was a target of mine for about 2-3 years at least. I knew that I had to meet these people somehow, and he sent me that beat. And I did it.
What beat?
He sent me a beat. It was called Future Kemet, and this is Black Magik. At the time, I only knew him by Brother Rich, the voice, the mysterious voice behind all these videos. And he sent me this beat, and I was just like, you know what, man? At the time, I was dealing with 2 different projects: my Cambatta project, my LSD project. So I was honestly too busy. You know what I mean? He sent it to me, and I said, this guy right here, you know what I mean? I met him previously. I already felt the seriousness of how this guy works. You know what I mean? He's not a bullshitter. Like, when you meet him, first of all, you know he's all about business. And so when he sent it to me, I was like, yo, I have to get to this. You know what I mean? So once I did it, I sent it to him. I didn't know what he was gonna say. You know what I mean? He's quiet. He's not the kind of guy that's like, yo, he's not a yes man. You know what I mean? And when he gave me back the feedback and he liked it, I was beyond surprised. And then we saw the feedback on the page, and that's what we realized that, yo, I have to work with this guy exclusively. If we make it just me and him, we have an opportunity to work as fast, because the only issue with features is that you're working on other people's time. You know what I mean? So at this point, we were in a situation where people only wanted Black Magik, which is the first song we did. So they didn't want anything else but that. So when originally we were only supposed to release that single. It wasn't until we got together that we were like, yo, maybe we should release a few more songs. However, he wasn't interested in taking a whole long time. He's like, bro, let's do this immediately. I have so much going on.
Right.
We have to do this now. He originally said December 4th.
Let me just say, your manager wanted to release it in like January, February.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, because y'all had the Cambatta coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, we gotta release this now. I was like, nah, we not waiting. I was like, we gotta release this now. But I'm gonna tell you, I sent Future. It was called Future Kemet, and what made me, I gotta get the. It was a dude who I had. The beat was just on my channel,
Right.
and in my mind, it was an intro on my channel. In my mind, I'm like, yo, this beat is crazy. In my mind, it sounded like a hyphy beat, like that Oakland, like that hyphy sound. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. But it's hard to get one of these conscious niggas to rhyme on something like this. They used to that simple, they just want you to hear the lyrics. They don't want to hear the beat, they just want you to hear it. I'm like, what conscious nigga can I get to rhyme on this?
Right.
So, I remember after Loaded Lux did the freestyle with Flex, I was like, yo, I gotta holler at Loaded Lux. I holler at him, I pitched him a couple of beats. He didn't seem that receptive. So in my mind, I was like, yo, it's not about who's popping, it's about who do you personally do, who does your spirit think is the best person?
Right, absolutely.
My spirit told me holla at Cambatta, because I liked the work he did on Scorpion King.
Yeah.
I want to thank Red Pill.
Oh, he
If Red
smoked
Pill
that.
did
Yeah,
not
Red Pill was the entrance.
If
He was
Red
the
Pill did
entrance.
not expose Cambatta to the world, I would have not known. So after Scorpion King and what did it for me, and what did it for me, the final dagger was God Live. When Cambatta came out with the video for God Live, I was like, I got to work with him.
Yeah.
So in my mind at that time, my psyche said, give it to Cambatta. And I thought about 10 names before Cambatta. But my heart said, give it to Cambatta, but my mind didn't understand why my heart was saying that.
Right.
So I said, I'm gonna follow my heart. You know, I don't talk to him, so I'm like, this nigga gonna think I'm crazy. So I just hit him up out the blue like, yo, I got this beat that played on my channel, I want you to write something to it, whatever. He sent it to me back to me in about a week. In that week, I was like, yo, this is crazy. I put it on my channel, it went crazy, and then we just started talking, and the thing I wanted to do as a producer, the question you asked earlier, as far as like one producer doing the whole project, I feel like the best producers do that.
Right.
Quincy Jones,
Right.
Teddy Riley. The best producers are able to do a whole project.
It hit every chakra.
It hit every chakra.
That
So
was the standard.
exactly.
Metro Boomin.
Jay-Z just did that, and you can hear
No
the
ID.
difference.
Yeah.
With no ID, and then it had Google, but at the same time, you can hear the synchronicity within those two feeding off of each other.
Cohesiveness.
You can, and the same, you can, on Holy Ghost, you can just hear it like you guys are just playing off of each other, which was dope.
And half of the album we did within 1 hour working together. Like we got in the studio, I told him and his manager immediately, I was like, yo, I like to do beats in front of somebody because I'm an empath and I'm able to absorb energy. So if you give me an energy, I absorb it, and the music is an extension of my body, so I'm able to relay that on the keyboard.
Right.
I told him that in the first day. So I absorbed his energy. We came out with GOAT. Remember and I lost the beat to GOAT. Then I did it again.
It was
we did
way
Mayweather.
better.
We did Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was so natural working with him. And we just banged it out like that. In 2 weeks, the album was done. You know what I'm saying?
Great. That was gonna be my next question. I wanted to know how long that took, because
2 weeks.
People's creative process is fascinating to me. Like other people's creative process, like what gets them going, like what sparks those brain cells to fire off and things like that. So 2 weeks. That's crazy.
It.
Crazy.
A lot of isolation, man. When we were making the beats, it was just us two or just him. And when I was recording, it was literally me after I'm a different human, man. I very rarely see daytime. You know, that's real. I operate in the waking hours, and it's because I have to be in complete silence for me to enter my trance and get maybe 90% of my rhymes never reach human ears. I do it strictly. It's the only thing like. If I was a robot, I'd be if I was a vacuum robot, I would just vacuum robot all day. And for me, it's bars. All day, every day, all I'm doing is studying word.
So which is also interesting because last week, I published an article about new rappers and why they failed to connect to their audience down the line, right? And I said it was ego. And I think when rappers get in their egos, they lose that hunger to keep rapping. And you just said that's all I do. Yeah. And I feel like
what's your ego?
Ego, so because they feel they new rappers, right? So what happens with new rappers? They put out a single, it pops somehow. We can think it's trash, but it pops somehow, right? They start touring off of that one song. They start making a little money. They start going on the gram and flexing to the people that actually made that song pop. And then after a while, they can't produce another track that hit like that. And then the fans are already tired of them because you were calling me broke. I'm saying I don't want to hear you no more.
Because they never got the opportunity to progress.
Right. So when artists genuinely come from the grassroots up, fans and hip hop fans are real fickle for this reason as well. They love to see the climb because you're just like them. You can relate. They can relate to you, right? And then once they get to the top, what do rappers do? They act like those fans are. That's right? Yeah. It happened to 50. People loved 50 when he was coming up, right? And then by the time that second album came, he started dissing everybody. He started acting like he was better than everybody. Then what? We were hype when Game was the G Unit. We were hype when Jadakiss was getting after him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that happens with new rappers more so today because of social media. I think if social media was back in 03 when 50 was doing all this, and it wouldn't, I don't think he would last this long, right? And then what do we see is when after these big rappers come up, they're back on the Breakfast Club begging for support. And then they put out an album. And then they put out an album talking about how much money they have in their listeners. It doesn't make that dynamic is fascinating to me. So when I hear somebody take their craft seriously, because I don't think rappers today take their craft seriously. They can't recite a Biggie lyric, which is wild to me. But you said all you do is rap, and then the fact that you knew you had the foresight to know, like, I have to work with him, and he felt he had to work with you, which is the universe working. That's wild to me.
Yo, and I'll tell you this one thing, behind the scenes, man, my family are living in a freezing house right now with freezing pipes. You feel me? And that's why. That's why. You feel me?
Right.
I'm still poor, bro. You feel me? It doesn't matter what I can do for myself as a man, unless you can open that door for those people that you love. It doesn't matter what you can acquire and how many accolades you can get from your talent. If you can't serve those around you and you can't elevate your queens, it puts you in a state of desperation, and you're witnessing a man in the same desperation, or if not a more intense desperation than people that you've seen before. Like I'm working for that now. You know what I mean? Like at this moment, I need it. You know what I mean? And that's as real as it gets. Like, you know what I mean? I can't promise that I'm gonna be like this once I'm a millionaire. I might not pick up a mic again after that. I told Rich, there's no reason to create art in heaven, because there's no muse, there's no reason, there's no direct really influence. You know what I mean? Because I don't have any motivation. I have everything I need. Right now, I need everything. I need everything. Every piece of lint. If I take enough lint from everybody's pocket, I could create enough clothes to fit my whole family. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
That's dope because this is he's like a motivational speaker. He's not a Gary Vaynerchuk. He be on YouTube, and he said his goal is he wants to be able to buy the jets, right? But he said he was like, I think subconsciously I sabotage myself because I love the journey more than the actual idea of just having it, because I don't want to be able to not have motivation. And I totally get that. Like, I don't know how it'd be like waking up just having nothing to look forward to. You know what I mean? Nothing to work towards. Absolutely. So I get that.
You're talking about polygamy also. You're talking about the courtmanship versus the actual relationship.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a hunt is better than the kill.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens. Yeah.
That's it. It's around the board.
And real quick, me and Bada had this conversation in terms of I was able to see his hunger, and when I met him, and he was able to see my hunger.
Right.
And I'm older than Bada. I'm 36. Bada's I think 30. And I had a conversation with Bada, and I told Bada, I said, "Yo, it's not about the age, it's about the passion."
Right.
We think that the older you get, you lose your skills with age.
Right.
It's not that. You lose your passion. When you lose your passion, you lose your skills. I never got to where I wanted to get, so every day music haunts me. And it calls me. Right. So it doesn't matter that I'm 36.
Right.
This shit is haunting me at 36.
Right.
It's haunting him. So it doesn't matter how old we are, we're still being haunted by who we are. It'll drive us nuts. I could be a millionaire, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't even matter.
Right. So
it's not the age, it's the passion. The passion is within you. It's your vibrational frequency of who you really are.
Right. And
you can't ignore it. And this is why people are so depressed, because they're trying so hard to ignore who they are for who society told them they are. So, it's just such a blessing to be in a situation with Bada, and for us to be on that frequency of fulfilling our passion, our vibrational frequency, our invisible frequency of who we already are. We already are these musical superstars. We just don't see it in its physical existence yet. That's it.
So I had a question. Well, it's for both of you, so you can answer except how do you feel Black Magik or Brother Rich made you, his production made you a better rapper, and vice versa?
And I probably never shared this with him, but I've never taken something so seriously in my life. You feel me? When the first time I met this man was, I remember when Red Pill, he brought me and Red Pill, we were already building, we were recording for Scorpion King, and he brought me out to Harlem. This is right when Prince died, and we went out there and I met him for the first time, and when Brother Rich is in the zone, he has ton of it. He sees the goal, and that's it. You feel me? And I remember he dropped $100 bill on the floor, and at the time, man, I might have had $1 in my pocket. That same day, I actually got a ticket for hopping the turnstile with him. The cops, I was so broke that day that I jumped over the joint and the cops gave me a ticket, which I still owe to this day. You feel me? He dropped $100 bill, didn't even know it. I said, bro, here. Because I already knew who he was. And I remember that was it. And that was it. That's what started it. I could have, if I would have took that $100 bill, we wouldn't be talking right now. Right. You feel me? Right.
That was a test.
And that was it. And since that day, like, I've had it on my mind. Like, I knew since the first time I saw this channel and I saw these people that I knew I had to align myself with them. And with brother Rich, he's so serious. He was already in the midst of it. By the time I met him, he's already 200,000 subscribers deep. So I knew that not only did I have to perform, but I have to be able to manifest quick.
Right.
So I've never had to do anything like that. I never had to make sure that I do something.
Right.
Now, everything has been on my accord. So that's how it changed me. It prepared me for business. Like the transparency of working with somebody else, the 50-50 split. Right. Knowing that you have somebody else that at the end of the day, like, yo, this is what we're doing. That right there opens you up to business, and it's prepared me and matured me in many ways.
Brother Rich?
In terms of Bada, like he said, it's something he didn't tell me. I didn't tell him when the first day he came to my studio, I was a little nervous because I'm like, all right, as a producer, I'm like, I gotta produce in real time.
Right.
So I'm like, I seen his work. I seen him work with Red Pill. I seen the God Live video. I want him to know I'm nice. I'm not just a freak, and I did the Black Magik song.
Right.
So I'm like, I gotta produce in person in front of him.
Right.
I can't just play him beats like, yo, I got this, I got that. I wanna, as a producer, I wanna be able to produce in front of you. I want us to vibe off each other's energy. So I was kind of nervous when he came through. That's why I was so eager. I was so hungry. And that's why GOAT and Mayweather and the songs came out that way, because I'm like, I gotta show this nigga that I'm nice too.
Right.
Like, he ain't the only one that's a legend in here. I gotta show him that I'm nice too. So, that really inspired me, that I seen his genius already. And I wanted to show him that, I'm tapped in, because, when we say we're a genius, we're not being egotistical. We're all genius because we're all tied into that God energy.
Right.
Some people, that God source, thank you, Red. Some people tap into it more than others, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson talked about that all the time. He said, sometimes I feel like I'm just channeling this music. He said that.
Right.
So it's like we're just constantly channeling this energy, channeling. So I just wanted to show, and I see what God, like I know he channels that shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I just want him to know that, I'm on that frequency. I channel it too. Right. So, we just inspired each other. And when you around, they say birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
So if you're around inspirational people, genius is gonna happen automatically, man.
That is
truth.
Yeah. Dope. So my pops, anytime he talks to me about his rhyming days, right? He said
legendary.
He like he would have, like, say it was a rapper like Kumo D, Rakim. He said he battled them in his mind, just to keep himself sharp. Have you ever done it with a rapper, like, in your mind, like, if I had to go up against him, I had something for him, like, who would that be?
I mean, on the outside, Cam is a very pleasant, humble human being. On the inside, I'm lethal. You feel me? I'm dreadful. I'm absolutely bloody and as gory as you can get. When I see any human being outside of my circle that possesses any kind of rhyme skill, I immediately measure them to myself, and I wonder how I'm gonna fare. Right now, I always have had Eminem in my line sight. I always wonder how I fare against Eminem. Another person is Jay-Z, of course. Nas, as far as his conceptual output. More recently, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Drake. I have a gentleman that I just sparred with recently, Joyner Lucas, who's going to be on my album, who a lot of people are talking about right now. So you're going to be able to see what it feels like. So for a person like Cambatta to deal with a person like Joyner Lucas.
Just thinking about that, that's... Yeah,
we have a similar storyline and everything like that. So, what you're saying is very accurate. To this day, I think Eminem is a very strong adversary. Eminem and Jay-Z, for very different reasons. Eminem, has a very intentional objection for creating the greatest syllabic rhyme schemes. Jay-Z is effortless. Jay-Z represents breathing. He breathes these rhymes into manifestation. It doesn't even sound like he's doing it. So those are the people that I keep in my mind every time I pen. However, in my regular life, I don't listen to hip hop. I only listen to Bilal, D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, Kimberell, and different vocal orators like this, the best of the vocalizers that we have. I don't listen to hip hop in my personal life.
Well, why is that?
I think it clouds my style, and they're not feeding me anymore. I'm not fed by hip hop anymore.
Okay.
It's only, I think after the age of 33, I'll start to make a transition artistically. I'm 30 now, but I can see how the overcomplexity of lyricism kind of drowns sometimes what I'm trying to say. And singing is the only thing that can do that. But in order for me to be okay with it, I'd have to be one of the greats. So I only listen to certain neo soul and gospel music.
That is dope. So, Brother Rich, in the same, I'm gonna ask a question in the same vein. Like, what producers, do you draw inspiration from?
Well, like I said, I'm 36, so the producers that I remember being young, opening up a CD, and before I listened to any rhymes, I went down the credits and I want to see what Swizz produced. Whatever Swizz produced, Swizz Beatz, I would listen to. So definitely Swizz Beatz, because I check to see whatever he produced, I gotta hear that first.
Right.
So Swizz Beatz, Trackmasters. I love their catalog, Trackmaster catalog. They work with Nas, they worked with the R&B acts, Foxy, all of them. Like they did their thing. Swizz Beatz, Trackmasters. Pharrell, the Neptunes. I don't want to say Pharrell. The Neptunes,
right.
Chad Hugo. I don't want to, So exclude him. Yeah. So the Neptunes, Swizz Beatz. Timberland. So that's from my era. This new era, I'm really feeling. Who really inspires me in this era? 808 Mafia. That Southside 88T. I forgot his name.
808.
The dude with the purple dreads, what's his name? Green dreads?
TM 808.
TM 808, yeah. So let's just say 808 Mafia. Metro Boomin, big time. Metro Boomin, big time. Big influence. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in particular.
That is the Metro, don't trust you.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot you. Yeah. But let me just say those producers in general. They really influenced me and just inspire me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I really appreciate just sound in general. It don't have to be hip hop. I just appreciate sound. But those producers right there, they really inspire me.
Okay. So where can you be reached, and where can people like find this piece of work?
Gotcha. So in this day and age, it's gonna require you to use maybe even voice or fingertips. We're in a time now that it's very unlikely for you to just stumble upon something unless you know about it. Cambattamusic.com. www.cambattamusic.com. And Cambatta is spelled C-A-M as in monkey, B as in boy, A-T-T-A.music.com. So Cambattamusic.com. Cambatta, C-A-M-B-A-T-T-A. And that's where you can download the new project, the Holy Ghost EP. 6 tracks of fire, including a DVD with over 2 hours of bonus footage. That's available right now, as well as the rest of the discography. And then if you have Twitter or Instagram, you can find me at Cambatta Music, C-A-M-B-A-T-T-A Music. And that's with an app side in front of it. And then, of course, I'm available on YouTube or Facebook too. But Cambatta is the word. Other than that, just understand that the Holy Ghost EP is the new project. www.cambattamusic.com. Cambatta Black Magik. This is the newest project we have. Top 10 Project of the Year, Complex Magazine. Thank you.
And with that said,
wait a minute, talk to me about the video coming out soon.
There's a video coming out soon. Okay, so talk to us about that.
Actually, you guys are right in time because we're doing the draft too. We need beautiful queens, which includes all queens. Because if you're a queen, then that means you're beautiful. So
I actually have one more question.
Yes, we need queens. We need makeup artists. We need fashion lines.
Dancers.
We need dancers. We need social network influencers. We need anybody who can be on the scene and make this happen. This is for your benefit. This is for the benefit of your sons and daughters to make sure that they grow up as kings and queens. And basically we need you there. So hit us up right now. Where can they hit us up, Brother Rich?
646-472-4219.
That's it.
Repeat that again.
You can call us directly. We serious about this. We not playing, y'all. 646-472-4219.
If you want to be in a video or anything else we're doing, we'll accept you.
Well, what's the video for? What song?
Black Magik.
I would definitely be making a cameo in that.
Hey.
Absolutely.
Track 1, Black Magik. If you want to be on the scene with the Black consciousness movement and honestly presenting something of substance to your children. Black Magik music video is something that once your children come of consciousness, they'll be able to be, yo, that's mommy, that's daddy. What's good? Oh, we good right now. So thank you very much, man.
So real quick before we get out of here, right? Listening to the album again, right, today, my favorite track on that album was She God, or She Good, right? Because first of all, I love when anybody talks about a woman in a high regard, especially a black woman. I love it, right? So explain the thought process when going in to make that one.
Honestly, it all stemmed from the beat. This is a beat like unlike shout out to Black Magik, Brother Rich, as most of you may know him. This is a beat unlike anything I have ever heard. It's almost like the hook was a world and the verse was a world. And in some strange duality, they work together cohesively, perfectly. And honestly, that was the only concept I could see worked from it. Like I must have wrote about 10 hooks to this song.
Yeah, we worked on that one the most.
Yeah, exactly.
We worked on that one the most.
Because there's no reference point. I've never heard something that actually switched direction like this beat did. Like you can hear it clearly from when you hear the hook, and it's poo-doo-doo-doo, poo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, and then in the hook is like doo doo boo-doo-doo doo. It is like a whole different world, and it's like it transforms you as a writer. If you're not ready for that, you're gonna be like, what the fuck do I do? So I didn't know what it was when I first wrote it, you know what I mean? Right. But I knew that based on the sound, it sounded beautiful. Right. And the only thing that it can associate with beautiful is the female. I don't. When I see a man, I don't think pretty or beautiful. I think strength, warrior, soldier, dark.
Shout out to Genuine.
That's it, exactly, right? He honestly, because Genuine, guess what? When you talking about riding a pony, you put yourself in a certain position. He just saved himself.
Absolutely.
20, 30 years later, we know that he not riding ponies. Because that's not cool. But as far as She God, I literally went with the Sonics. I rode that wave and only did what the water told me to do. And that's what it was. As soon as the beat changed, so did my words. And you hear it in the second verse of the song, the last end of it, it got me more into the celebration of the black woman, because the beat took a hold of it. And these are keys. This is a man who wasn't raised on classical piano. Right. He decided upon himself to take piano lessons. Right. But in the second verse, if you listen to the last 8 bars of that verse, he took that joint to a whole Telly Riley, Stevie Wonder world. I didn't know what I was gonna do because I don't sing like Brian McKnight, you know what I mean? So I had to really dig in my pocket to make sure I come out with something that's eloquent and emotional enough to express what was going on in these keys.
Fire. Yes. I appreciated that one a lot. So, again, thank you for coming. I hope.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, what's up?
Because I can't help but ask people questions, because that's what I do.
What you do for me.
Like I said, this shit just comes out of me. In terms of like us being creators, we're always curious what the people think, and like how you said your favorite track is She God Good. Steve Jobs made a quote. He said, "You can't just ask customers what they want and then try to give it to them. By the time you get it built, they want something new."
Right.
So as us being, creating a project, do you think that's true? Do you think if we say, yo, what do you want? Do you think by the time we make what you want, you'll want something new, like Steve Jobs said?
I do. I think that's true.
Explain.
I think that's true because people, like, by nature are fickle. By nature.
Yeah.
I think as soon as they like something one day and don't like it now. Prime example, Cardi B, right? People loved Bodak Yellow, got to #1, right? Soon as she got to that top, what are people trying to do? They're trying to put her naked videos on Twitter and on Instagram for what? Because they just want something. They just want to be contrary, I guess. They just want something to flip on.
Right.
Right. So I think as a creative, people, like, as a creative, you have your obligation to create what's in here, but at the same time, you also have to take feedback as well. And that's the scary part of being a creative, is putting that out, letting that piece that you create leave your hands so other people can say it. Because when I write something, I put it out and want to hide in my closet because I don't know what people are gonna say. You know what I'm saying? I put something out, I put my phone down, and I look up and Pop wrote me. I'm not trying to answer because I know you're ready. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, like, once that happens, you get feedback. Once you get that feedback, you know what tweaks to make. You don't have to change up your whole style because one person said, nah, maybe the beat was too loud, or maybe you should make a trap beat, and you don't want to ruin the integrity of your work because a few people don't get it. And I remember at the listening session, you said, like, yo, Pharrell or Nori at the Drink Champs told me, like, yo, Pharrell told me, yo, just listen to me, and that was your thing. You was like, yo, listen, I have an idea. It might not be the perfect guy, but just listen to me, and I think this will work. So that's
exactly
what
dope.
it is.
Dope. Thank you, bro.
Also, I'd like to chime in with that really quick. The day and time we live in also has something to do with it. It's the microwave age we live in.
Right.
So when I used to get a Rakim album, I would listen to his album for 2 years because it would be 2-3 years before he delivered his next masterpiece. And you walked around with that cassette tape and listened and listened and listened and listened because it wasn't, and it kept giving. Every time you listened, it kept giving you something different. Oh, you heard that clever shit. You didn't hear that clever shit Rakim said the last time until your understanding caught up to where his message was. But now information comes out so fast and everybody dropping information, you never truly really get to appreciate an album the way you used to. Because once I listen to your album, now I'm waiting for Migos to drop. I'm waiting for this one to drop. As opposed to really ingesting the music the way we did in the 70s and 80s.
What he did with this album, though, is he created a reference point to where now a person can take temperature of where their consciousness is.
Yes,
their mind.
absolutely.
Bookmarked a level of information intertwined in the music. There was a leveling up that took place.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The same way that when Rakim came, what did he do? He raised the ceiling up on thoughtfulness or the way
lyricism. Mental aptitude and lyricism.
Mental aptitude and lyricism, and thus that collectively raised up the minds in not only God bodies but citizens.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They can water rise to his level, so you're collectively allowing the students of Black Magik and other channels that need that evolution and that upgrade to get it through the medicine. That's the music. You dig what I'm saying?
And I didn't feel Holy Ghost, just my humble opinion, it's not fly by night music. You have to ingest it. It's gonna stay with you like a fucking rash.
Exactly.
It keeps giving. So to be able to manipulate time and space in that capacity, not every artist can do it. And I want to applaud you for that.
Definitely.
So you get artists, you go, oh, that was dope, and you just move on. Oh, that shit was cool. Oh, that shit was dope, and then you move on.
Literally.
But this project made you go, hold up. Did he just say that?
Right.
Did that beat just, is he intertwined within the beat the way I think he is?
Fact.
Is he splitting the track? Because not a lot of niggas can split the track and sit in the middle of the track the way, you know, that's just my terminology of it. And really it becomes embodied as one energy. Not everybody can do it. And when I heard this brother on the Scorpion King, I said, oh, hold up.
Yeah.
Every now and then an artist comes along that, you know, demands that that energy, and Cambatta is that artist. I'm on the back.
And I told him about the magic.
Right. So you felt it.
Yeah. I said,
you felt it.
I said there's a creative force field that takes over, that encompasses everybody in attendance.
Absolutely.
When I went to his house the night of the Harry Weinstein polite debate, and we had all of them people from out of town. Brick the Foundation came with me. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
And we were charged up. And we hit the booth. We made for this in Detroit Red. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, the energy. You feel me?
You knew.
And he it was horizontal gene transfer. Like he was saying, if you're able to vibrate on a certain kind of creative frequency, you're going to receive.
No, you received.
Let's get on some spooky shit. I taped his session last night. I asked him, I said, did you watch that footage?
Oh, man.
It's mad fucking entities.
Yeah, the entities that we picked up on our camera.
Wow.
Mad entities in that footage.
So we didn't never intend on going to record the Scorpion King album. It wasn't a kind.
Right.
It was just, man, we're gonna link as creatives and do what? Feed off of each other's energy. You're going to bring out the best in me. And what I'm saying, the timelessness of the album and how you know you have a classic is when the album is not only artwork but it's energy.
Yes.
And then it make a nigga want to say you're melting people's ice caps. That's called breaking the block, because that album has inspiration in it.
Son, if you when I heard the
Your
Scorpion
album
King,
had inspiration in it.
but when I heard the Scorpion King, I went on Facebook and said, "You guys have now been elevated
Yes, I
to
remember
MCs."
that. I remember that. When you
Prior
put
to that
in.
point, it was to me rappers with knowledge, you my brothers and all that.
Fact.
That shit, I said, and when I agree, and I don't give that to people. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
I said, no, this Scorpion King shit here. I said, no, you are now bestowed upon as an MC. You say Black Dot said it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's
because I only move off energy. I only move off what I hear and what I feel.
Shit, that
That's that Virgo shit. No. This shit right here, no, this is some shit.
So I just want to wrap it up by saying this: that you have the formula, and I have the testament to say, yo, the brother knows the. Remember, in all studios, they possess $1 million formulas. And the engineer or he who uses it the right way takes off until that formula, the matrix upgrades, and they have to come with a new one. We're in the throes of a renaissance.
Definitely.
We have to put a value to it. We have to really evaluate it, and we have to basically keep it scaling.
So, with that being said, I want to thank you for coming, Brother Rich, because I feel like it's important that we support our artists.
Definitely.
And I appreciate that you felt the need to come to UrbanX TV, because I feel like we all need to support our artists, and I think Holy Ghost is going to be big.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it, and thank you for coming through.
Appreciate you, man. Much
Yo, and
love,
shout
man.
out UrbanX. This is one of the best platforms that I've seen. I'm always observing YouTube and the other platforms that's on YouTube, and appreciating and getting inspiration from some platforms and seeing the fuckery from other platforms. Urban, and this is Brother Rich talking, Black Magik 363. Subscribe to UrbanX. This platform is effing awesome.
Facts.
This is one of the best platforms that I tune into and that I appreciate when I'm on YouTube. This is TV for me. So make sure you subscribe to UrbanX TV. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody involved. I definitely appreciate this platform, and just keep up the good work, yo.
Peace.
Peace.
Holy Ghost CP. Thank you.